Hello, everyone, and welcome to this latest virtual event, part of the Become a Bobcat virtual series. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your evening. My name is Ricky Hill, and I'm an e-recruiter and engagement specialist here at UC Merced. As I mentioned, this event is part of our larger series, which is called Become a Bobcat. Once again, welcome. Tonight, we will be focused on the School of Engineering. This is an information session. I will give you a couple of quick little tips about Become a Bobcat so you can join us for some of the other events that we are having. The Become a Bobcat virtual series is offering over 40 different virtual live events just like this one. You will have an opportunity to learn about not only our academics and our course offerings, but also different research opportunities that you will have as a Bobcat at UC Merced, other student services, as well as many student panels where you can actually hear from your future peers, future Bobcats. Once again, this is part of the bigger series, the Become a Bobcat virtual series. But like I said, tonight we will be focused on the School of Engineering. Let me give you a couple of quick tips before we get started. If you would like to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen. Click on the audio settings button and make those adjustments as needed. If you would like to adjust the size of your window, click on View options in the upper portion of your screen. Make those adjustments as needed as well. Lastly, we would love to hear from you during this event. We have a lot of great information to share, but I'm sure that you may come up with a few questions along the way or may have brought some of those with you. You can click on the Q&A button in the lower portion of your screen, send us your question, and we will be offering a live question and answer session at the end of this event. We also have some of our friends behind the scenes who will also be assisting with questions and answers there as well. Once again, a big welcome to you to this virtual event, part of the Become a Bobcat virtual series. My name is Ricky Hill, and at this time, it is my great pleasure to hand things over and get things kicked off with our main speaker, Dean Matsumoto from the School of Engineering.
Thank you, Ricky, and good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Matsumoto, and I am the Dean of Engineering here at the University of California, Merced. So many of you that are watching, I've been in your position. Actually, I started my undergraduate career at a University of California campus. And so I understand if you're considering to go to UC Merced, that some of the questions you may have. And I've also been on the parent side, as some of my kids have gone to the University of California too. So as parents, I understand where you are as well. What I'm going to talk about quite a bit here is about, in general, about why go to college and about engineering in general, and then talk more specifically about what goes on in the School of Engineering here at UC Merced. So let me talk about this. And actually, I do talk to students. I do teach a class, believe it or not, and as dean. And I talk about this. And I talk about the education journey. So what you see here is, as you're moving along, students have gone for elementary school for a number of years, and then on to secondary school for middle and high school. And now you're in consideration of undergraduate school and what you're going to do after that. But at some point in time, you could continue on or even go to advanced. But at some point in time, you're probably thinking about what happens after that. And you're thinking about what's my job and career going to be like. And so at some point in time, you're going to jump off. Maybe you decide, I'm not going to go to college, and you decide to go for a job and career right off. Or maybe you do, you go to college, you get your degree, and you go on for a job or degree, or you go for an advanced degree and you do that and to go for a job or career, or you even go to advanced degrees and beyond, and then you go for a job and career. But at any point in time, at some point, your education journey is going to end, and you're going to seek a job and career. And why, when we consider engineering, you'll see, at least in my opinion, of course, it's just my opinion of being the engineering dean, of why this is a great discipline to study in engineering. So let me talk a little bit about that. So just in general, why a college education? I don't need to go into a lot of details in here, but these are statistics about what the median or the middle salaries of people who did not complete high school, et cetera, et cetera. And in general, what you can see is the more education you get, the higher levels of education. Of course, this doesn't apply to every single person, but generally the median in the middle, this is what the average salaries are by education. And so one of the motivations for going to college is to, when you go into that job and career, that you're going to get a a job that pays well, the more you get educated in that. So that's what you go. And also it'll help you in the long term when the economics go down, economy goes down, in terms of when unemployment. There are advantages, obviously, to going to college and why you're looking at college right now. Engineering, though, it's a little different. It's a great discipline. Actually, people don't think of engineering as being a great discipline for creative people, but the more creative you are, engineering becomes very important, and I'll describe why that is. It's also for those who like to build and improve things. If you like those kinds of things, you say, why can't we make a better this or that, or why can't I make a better computer program? Engineering is for you. That's what we're all about. We make everyday things possible. If you're a student, and where I was sitting there when I was thinking, kind of contemplating to go to school, this is hopefully not that long ago, but long enough ago that actually, when I started going to college, there was not such a thing as a calculator. I used a slide rule, if you can imagine that. So maybe you could learn how to use a slide rule and figure that out. The other thing that engineers do, it's a profession, and like all professions, our goal is to benefit people, to help people by doing those things, by solving problems and confronting challenges. So these are the kinds of things that engineering do. And engineering is a career. It's actually very satisfying as a career. It's intellectually satisfying, and you get paid well. And there's an enormous amount of career opportunities, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And you also consider generally to be a respected member of society as an engineer, although people don't think you are creative and don't think that you have a life other than engineering. But actually, it is a pretty good way to go. So as I said, engineering is something that transforms society and helping people. When you're out on the roads and driving around, everything that you see that helps the cars, the roadways, those types of things are all done through engineering. This is an interesting thing. So this is a car that was developed in the early 1900s, very early 1900s. What's interesting about this is called the Baker Electric Car. So they had electric vehicles all the way back then in 1900. And now, as we're seeing, more and more of the cars are becoming electric. So this is a prototype for a Porsche electric vehicle. So we've come a long different way, but it's still just improvements. We've gone from telephones that look like this. Everybody has a cell phone now that looks like that. We've gone from this is the first computer called ENIAC to computers that anybody can do right now. Even any member of society works on computers. We see through airplanes, we fly, it's engineering, prosthetics that we go to help different people. This is what we do, artificial heart types of development. We work on these types of things. Anything that you can think about in a city, this is what engineers do. Maybe you know these people are. Hopefully you know some of them. You can recognize a few of them. So those people, let me go back. Tim Cook, Mary Bella, Satya Nadella, Jerry Stoffelman, Larry Cook, and Jeff Bezos. The thing about these people, they're all engineers. They all had engineering degrees. And engineering has been long ranked as the most common undergraduate degree among Fortune 500 CEOs. A third of the CEOs majored in engineering. And there's a reason for that. Engineering is very flexible. It's kind of like the modern day liberal arts. It allows you to do a lot of things because it's about developing formal ways to solve problems and those kinds of things. So these are people, they all have engineering backgrounds, and many more. If you didn't know, if those that are really into old film buffs, even Alfred Hitchcock was an engineer. So what about engineering at UC Merced? So let me describe a few things here. So our history, we were established when the campus opened in 2005. We had 140 graduates in 2005. Today, there's over 2,200 engineering students at UC Merced. We're the second largest school on the campus. And if you were comparing the fraction of undergraduate students at all the UC campuses, we have the highest fraction of engineering students among all UC campuses. So we're very engineering centric. We have a very modern complex. We have a number of buildings. If you have the opportunity to tour the campus, and you can see some of our newest phases, Project 2020. The first phase opened in 2018, the second phase in 2019, and the last phase just opened in fall 2020. And because of the COVID, we haven't actually been able to go into most of those buildings. So we're looking forward to when we're back in person, hopefully this fall, and we can actually start to take advantage of those brand new buildings that have been sitting there. We have 5 undergraduate majors. Oops, excuse me. We actually have 6. We started civil engineering this fall 2021. So this will be our inaugural incoming class of civil engineering students for those that choose that major. We have bioengineering, which is focused more on biomedical technologies and those types of things, computer science and engineering, environmental engineering, material science and engineering, and mechanical engineering. So those are our 6 undergraduate majors here at UC Merced. We have outstanding faculty in all of the areas that support those undergraduate programs. They're known for their excellence in research. They're world-class research faculty members. Most of the faculty members have come here from top universities across the country and internationally as well. We do excellent graduate programs and students for those that continue to go on for those advanced degrees that they introduced at the beginning. And we have very strong industry connections, which I'll elaborate on in a little bit. We also are proud of our teaching in the school. Our teaching skills are very important in our hiring decisions and for advancing faculty as they grow up in their careers. So we look for the faculty members who have good teaching skills so that they can mentor students and help them along in their education journey that I talked about from the very beginning. Each course that we offer by the engineering faculty is evaluated by the students, both for the content and the instructors themselves, to help improve the teaching and understanding, to help the faculty know how they can better help students as they progress. The engineering students rate the teaching high here. As an example, we have a 7-point rating scale kind of a thing, and the average engineering evaluation scores are 6 out of the 7. So we do very well. Further, we have many undergraduates who are involved in research, working in the faculty lab groups. So as I said, they're excellent in research, and we love to involve our undergraduates in research to see how they can apply what they're learning in the classroom to research endeavors as well. What we try to provide in engineering here at UC Merced is a well-rounded education. A lot of times there's a discussion about whether we have a more theoretical approach or a practical approach to engineering education. What we try to do is combine both. We have a lot of hands-on approach. So many of our courses, most actually have laboratory component to them. So there's a lot of hands-on learning and different things. We have state-of-the-art equipment that many companies will use in their own endeavors. And so our students are trained for that. We work in team project-based programs. We have 2 specific major programs: our engineering service learning, which is for lower division students to work on projects for nonprofit organizations coming up with technology solutions that will support their efforts. And then we also have a capstone senior design that's required for both computer science and the engineering majors. They're required to take this, and each of those courses are start to finish experiences in project management and teamwork, and all of the projects are co-sponsored by industry partners. So each project is actually partnered with a company. So our students learn to interact and with working professionals and to design things that are beneficial to these companies. And we have a showcase annually called Innovate to Grow, where we show the outcomes of all those different projects. We have, for this semester, if you have the opportunity to watch and things, we have over 60 teams participating. with industry sponsors. So it's a very exciting thing, and I invite you to join and participate by watching if you'd like. And we have a lot of student faculty interaction, as I said, in undergraduate research. So we try to provide both hands-on and theoretical approaches. We have many other opportunities for student professional development. We have 14 student professional organizations related to the different majors, but also other specialty types of things: National Society of the Black Engineers, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, Society of Women Engineers, and we have the Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers as well. So we have a number of different clubs where students can participate. These are important for professional networking. It's not only with students within the campus, but in organizations that are at other universities nationwide as well. So it's a good way to develop professional networking. You may ask, well, where do UC Merced engineers go after they graduate? Well, here's a small list of companies where they have gone. There's many more, especially as we've grown our alumni. So basically, the bottom line is they go wherever they want to and where the companies are looking for highly qualified graduates. And so they go to any places where you can think of. And we do have programs where, just as an example, we're starting to network with a company called Omron. It's a new company that we have, and we're just getting some internships with them. Omron is a robotics manufacturing company that's located in Pleasanton. So we continue to add to our list. They just sponsored a capstone design project, so we're looking forward to that relationship as well. And we continue to do that. People that want to go to graduate school, our students go to basically any university that they go to. We've had many go there as well. And surprisingly, for the first time ever for our UC Merced, one of our engineering students actually won a Rhodes Scholarship. So we're spending doing their doctoral studies in England at Cambridge University, studying there in engineering and working on renewable energy systems there. And so it's the first for UC Merced. At the same time, one of our sister campuses, they had their first student also just get a Rhodes Scholarship, and that was at UC Santa Cruz. Only difference is that they're over 50 years older than we are. So a little bit different. Where do they go? Well, if you're in California, that's where most of our students do get their jobs. They stay within California and they work, but as you can see a little bit on the East Coast as well, in that corridor on the East Coast, where you can see some in Texas, in the Austin area where tech companies are, Colorado, and then also up in Washington and Oregon, where there are also a number of tech companies and other manufacturing companies as well. And within California, where you would expect. And a lot of students, they learn to like the Central Valley. They like to be close to Yosemite and different things, and they stay around here. But as you can see, a good number also go to where the populations are in the Bay Area and Southern California as well. So they have a lot of options, and that's about our graduates from UC Merced. So at this point in time, I'm ready to take questions. If I went fast, maybe, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dean Matsumoto, for that great presentation. Very insightful as always. Let's go ahead and dive into our questions here and see what we have. So thank you everyone who that is actually submitting questions. In case you haven't yet and you have something that you'd like to ask, you can do so in that Q&A button at the bottom portion of the screen. Just click the button, send us your question, and it will pop up on our screen here and we can go ahead and get that answered for you. Also, thank you to everybody who is upvoting some of these. That's helping us decide which ones to ask. So let's see, the first one that I see here. So Dean, if you can address this question. For CSE majors, where have people gotten the most internship offers and what colleges for their master's degrees?
So a couple of questions that. So where do they do internships? Actually, right now, they're doing them all over because for computer science and engineering, the internships, a lot of them are virtual right now. And so they're doing a lot of different things. We have computer science. So computer science is a field that's used in many different industries. So it's not just like you're thinking about the tech companies. We do have students that are at Google, at Netflix, at Facebook, doing internships. We have students also in computer science doing things and internships like at Lawrence Livermore National Labs. And believe it or not, in the Central Valley, one of the biggest, one of the largest, well, it is the largest winery in the world, Gallo, they have a tremendous IT department. And so students actually intern there as well as other different places. So that's where they do. Where the second question was, where do they go to get their master's degree? Well, they can get their master's degree here if they would like, but they go to other places as well. Our students can go to Davis, they can go to Cal Poly, they can go to San Jose State, depending on where they are. And if usually what that happens is when they are working, when they leave here with their bachelor's degree and then they go to work for a company, they will typically try to get a master's degree at the university that's closest to them. As we're changing right now, one of the things is that there will be more and more opportunities for remote types of offerings for master's degree, and we hope to offer that soon too.
So can you give us a little bit of information, in your opinion, what makes the UC system in general unique as compared to other universities?
Okay. One thing is the campus, University of California as a system is probably known as the preeminent public education institution in the world. As a system, what you would see is we produce more patents than any other university system in the world by far. So we're very entrepreneurial. We produce a lot of different research efforts. We actually generate a lot of industry around us that we support through our research and different things. There was a recent report that came out from the governor's office related to the impact of the University of California. I would suggest maybe you could look that up. I don't have the information right at hand, but that's one of the other things. As a system, we all work together. We do a lot of collaborative efforts with a lot of the campuses. So one example is that we have a research entity that is called the Center for Information Technology Research in the Interest of Society. So that's called CITRIS. And we're partnered with UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz, and UC Davis. And what we do there is, so we collaborate on research that's related to information technology that benefits society. And so different campuses have different flavors just because of where we're positioned. We are doing something called precision agriculture. That's kind of a strange thing that you think about, but basically it's using information technology to improve agriculture, not only in terms of growing, but also in processing food more safely and those types of things. It also will reduce a lot of the negative impacts that agriculture has had on the environment. And what do I mean by that? So we're learning to be more efficient with our water usage. We're also being less discriminate about how we employ fertilizers. So we don't over fertilize in areas that we don't need to, and we don't use pesticides. We try to use what's called integrated pest management. So we identify what the pests are. We have a whole host of biological ways that we can deal with those pests without trying to use pesticides. So that's just one of the ways that we do that. The system is really good. We also just launched another one. We are the center, we just a multi-campus research center for studying the impacts of wildfires on areas in terms of really infrastructure. So.
Very interesting information. Thank you for that. So another question that's coming in, I'm not sure if you'll have an exact answer for this one, but it is an interesting question. Is there a specific gender ratio for students that are in the School of Engineering?
Yes, there is a specific one. No, there's not really a specific one. Well, we do have gender ratios. And it varies by major. So the major that has the fewest or the smallest fraction of women, about 10% of the majors in mechanical engineering are women. It's about, the next one is computer science, where we have about 20% women. So for some reason, our mechanical is not. Whereas we go to the higher one, like environmental engineering, it's 50-50. So it varies by major.
Again, very interesting. I'm learning something throughout this presentation as well every time. Okay, so another one is a little bit similar to gender, but this time they're asking if there's an average class size for each of the classes within the engineering program.
So the more popular majors are going to have larger classes, but let me try to explain. Our largest major is computer science. We have about 1,100 students in that major. Mechanical is next, close to about 800 and so students. And then the other ones are smaller: bioengineering, environmental, material science. We don't know what civil is going to be like, but we think there'll be about probably, about 90 to 100 new incoming students there. So depending on the majors, but we try to limit all of our, I would call it, our courses related to the majors. In the lower division, we try to limit them to about 120 maximum. And then we divide it up. We have discussion sections of 30, so that we try to make it so that there's more smaller discussion sections so that they can ask more questions and those types of things. At the upper division, the largest ones are in computer science, and those classes tend to be up to 80 students in there. But if they're taking a technical elective, many of the technical electives have 35 or 40 students in those classes. Whereas the smaller majors, like in environmental engineering, the upper division classes are probably on the order of 25 students. In that, mechanical is like 60 students. So again, it depends on major. So we don't, for engineering, the only classes that are large are the computer science, introductory computer science courses, because there are students not only in computer science, but there's students from all over the campus taking those courses. But we don't have 400 person classrooms or classes. We generally try to keep them under 200 as well, but we do divide them up, just like we talked about for the discussions as well.
Wonderful. And a follow-up to that, what type of academic resources do we offer students?
Well, we offer quite a few. So we have advisors for the students, so they can help them, understand which courses they need to take. We also have information-based systems, computer systems that can help guide their selections and different things. There's really, for engineering, it's fairly prescribed. We call it lockstep type of curriculum. In other words, you have to take this course to take this course to take that course. So it's very structured to that rate. So for resources for helping students, we have a number of assistive type of, I'll call it kind of like tutoring. So we have a math center, we have a chemistry center. They're starting a physics center to help through those courses. We're working on a computer science based center for those types of things. And we have a writing center to help students for that. We also have other learning assistive things. We have mine's going a little bit, the Bright Success Center to help students do different things. And we also have the students themselves help each other through the student club. So the more advanced students will help the lower division students as well with their thing. What we try to do though, we try to tell everybody who's helping students learn is that we don't want you to do the homework for them. We want you to help them learn how to do the homework.
Great. And are there any companies that recruit on campus? And if there are, where can students find more information about that?
They do. And actually we just had 2 career networking events. We had many companies involved, and we have another one, special one, as I mentioned, that company Omron that's in Pleasanton. They will be a special one. We have many companies that come. I teach a professional development class for the engineering students. Most of the companies that sponsor our capstone design courses and different projects, they recruit on campus. We have many companies. So many of the companies that I saw on that list, they come and recruit as well. So we have, as I said, we have Google, Apple, all those kinds of companies, and many smaller ones. We have, Merced Irrigation District. We have a variety of agencies. We even have the Department of Water Resources come and recruit and those types of things. So they do come from all over. I really can't give you a comprehensive list. If you really want to find out, you go to the Center for Career and Professional Advancement, CCPA. It's our career services. You can go on there. All of our students that access this, we work through what's called the handshake system. It's common to UC campuses. So we also interact with the other UC campuses. So when they're recruiting also at the other UC campuses through the handshake system, our students can also participate as well. So yeah, we have many opportunities for students.
Wonderful. The next question coming in, will students have undergraduate advisors who will actually get to know them?
The Bobcat Advisors, for our freshman students, when you come as a freshman, so we have focused advising for the freshmen. And yes, they will get to know you and they will try to help you, because the freshman year is very critical. It's a transition year, so they will help point you to the resources to help you transition, where to find those tutor help, where to find out about, where do I go for the health center? And so they're very helpful in that way. And then in the schools, when you started getting into your engineering coursework, we have majors. And yes, they get to know you because it's by your last name. And so they get to know you in that way. So our advisors in engineering are signed by your last name, and you stay with them the whole time.
Okay, great. And also, I just want to say thank you to Iona, one of our admissions friends in the background. She went ahead and dropped a link in the chat for everyone who is on with us. So if you'd like more information regarding the Center for Career and Professional Advancement, there is a link that is there for you. You can take a look at that. All right, Dean, so the next question coming up for you. What curriculum does engineering match with that would also match to receive a major in a different program?
Well, it depends what you mean. So there's a lot of commonalities between the engineering programs. The one that is actually a little bit different is the computer science major, computer science and engineering. So starting at the freshman, the coursework is very much the same. As you go further into your sophomore year, it begins to diverge. And by the junior year, then it becomes different. However, I'll call it from a philosophical point of view, except for computer science, all the engineering majors use the same set of theory and principles to do their engineering work. It's just other applications. So students are learning the applications. Just as an example, so students all learn about conservation of energy. Well, if you go into mechanical systems, the mechanical engineers study about the conservation of energy from a mechanical point of view and type of thing. And then also in civil engineering, but in civil engineering, they also study conservation energy from a fluids or water system type point of view. And if you're in a materials point of view, you also actually look at atomic structure and conservation energy. So the basic principles are all the same across all the engineering disciplines. It's just about the applications. So can you move from one to another? Yes and no. In other words, if you start learning a lot about the applications, then but if you start from the principles, yes, you can. It's very common in that respect. I know that I may not answer the question directly, but I'm trying to give you a hint that engineering, they all start from the basic foundational principles based in the science in biology, chemistry, physics, and math.
Thank you. So the next question, do all UCs have more or less the same curriculum for computer science and engineering?
There's a couple things. I would say for the most part, yes. At the undergraduate level, what we try to do is we try to give you a broad-based education. So we don't really know, just like when you're in high school. We don't exactly know which direction you're going to go. So the idea is that we give you a broad base and have a lot of, I'll call it foundational information. So if you want to study artificial intelligence, we talk a little bit about, we have a course on artificial intelligence. If we're talking about algorithms, yes, algorithms, all UC campuses have an algorithm. All will have something related to databases and different things. So they're all common in that. And so, yeah, they're pretty much common. It's just about the technical electives. How deep do you want to go in a specialty area? There may be additional courses in artificial intelligence or machine learning or database management or networking and those types of things. That is a technical line, and those will vary somewhat from campus to campus. But generally in the fields of engineering, the areas are fairly fundamental. So there's a lot of commonality.
And what can we share with our audience today if they were going to compare UC Merced to another UC campus in similar program? What would make us stand out or make UC Merced unique?
Well, each UC campus is unique. I'll tell you where I have been before. So I was an undergraduate student at UC Irvine. I was a graduate student at UC Davis, and I was a faculty member at UC Riverside. Each campus has its own identity, and they're different in different ways. What makes UC Merced unique is that we tend to have smaller kind of interactions, except for computer science and mechanical engineering, one thing. But even then, we do a lot of undergraduate research. So our campus provides more opportunities for undergraduate students to engage in research. Now, how does that play out? So if you compare students from UC Merced, the fraction of the percentage of our students that go on for doctoral degrees, we have a higher percentage than almost every other UC campus. The only exception is Berkeley. So by engaging our students in undergraduate research, it exposes them to the opportunities in research and why it's important. So a lot of the things that you come to think about every day, just as an example, so UCLA, it's a sister campus. They've done a lot of things. Actually, the internet came out of UCLA, despite what some other political people say. It did come out of UCLA, out of a DARPA project. It was called DARPANet. These are the kinds of things that we do at the university level and the University of California that provide successes. Many things that you don't see behind the scenes that have helped advance technologies come from the University of California, and that's why we want to expose our students to this, to make them really dream and use their creativity. The other thing that makes us unique is that many of our students come from a background that, they didn't start life, privileged. And so one of the things is that we love to give students opportunities. We love to help students succeed. And this is what we do. And the best thing that makes our students succeed is that they come from backgrounds that make them hardworking. When we have our students go to internships, they go to many places where there are other students from other universities go, also interning. What the employers will almost always tell us is your students work harder than all the rest. So one of the things is that I really appreciate about our students is they're not afraid to get their hands dirty and they're not afraid to work.
Great words to live by, for sure. So the next question, what kind of experience can a civil engineering student expect for the inaugural year at UC Merced?
That's a good question. So what can they expect? So civil engineering, it's new, but just like I said before, all the engineering majors usually have a very common first year. The only difference in the environmental engineering program is this is the first program that's actually going to start with a freshman engineering class. So there'll be exposure to the civil engineering profession starting from the first freshman year, and it will continue on. A lot of what we're focusing in on in civil engineering here is related to the environmental types of things, water resources and the like. But we're also trying to develop a new line, which is called sustainable infrastructure. So we're talking about infrastructure, it's roads, power, a variety of different things. We're looking to change the way that we have done things in the past. So in terms of things like roadways, as we know, the transportation is changing from combustion-based vehicles to electric vehicles, and even further, we're talking about autonomous vehicles. So when we have autonomous vehicles and those types of more electric things, electric vehicles, we are working on infrastructure that would be more amenable to those types of vehicles for the future. And what we're trying to do, I'll just give you some things that are in the works. One of the projects involves embedding what are called piezoelectric devices that would be embedded in the highway. Now, what that is these little piezoelectric devices, when you embed it there, when you run over it, it generates a small amount of electricity, or it can, power. But we have lots of roadways and a lot of vehicles. So if we can do this throughout the roadways and embed these throughout the highways, we can actually generate renewable energy, or at least energy that's moving from taking from the vehicles and then putting it into the electric grid to provide power that we were wasting right now. So these are the kinds of things we're talking about, sustainable infrastructure, and that's where we're trying to go with the civil.
So the next question has to do with undergraduate research. So I'll just read the question as it came in here. Can you please explain the process involved in undergraduate research? Does one pick a topic and apply for a grant to pursue the research, or does one just join something that's already existing with an existing research team?
There's multiple ways. So there are formal undergraduate research programs. They are offered also by the Center for Career and Professional Advancement through the handshake system. So faculty members will post positions that they're looking for people to participate in the labs. We also encourage students to participate in research experiences for undergraduates. So many of our National Science Foundation grants, they provide extra funds to support undergraduate students to participate in research. They're trying to encourage students to go on for advanced degrees. Let me try to explain why they're trying to do this. For one thing is that we want to increase diversity in all fields, particularly in engineering. So that's one. And at our campus, that's really very good for us because we have a very diverse student population. But the other thing is that we're trying to encourage actually Americans in general to go to advanced degrees. Now, why do I say that? So in engineering at the undergraduate level, about 90+% of the students that graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering are either American citizens or have permanent residency. When it gets to the master's level and the PhD level, however, that drops to below 50%. So the majority of people in engineering that are pursuing advanced degrees in this country actually are coming from foreign countries. And so that's great that we can attract them here to our schools to do those types of things. And it provides opportunities. But we would love to see more of our own students go on for these advanced degrees so that they can in turn be contributing to the research endeavor. They bring with them a lot of different types of experiences that will enrich the research, as well as we also want to improve the diversity of faculty members that we have at any university in engineering. This is a long-term goal for engineering education, and we're working towards it. And so these are why these experiences are so important. But they can do it through the CCPA, and they can also, what I do encourage students to do is, hey, faculty members are people, just make an appointment and ask them, what do you do? What's your research? What are you interested in? And if you're interested, and then if the student is interested, you can just ask the faculty member, can I participate in your lab? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, probably, yes. So that's different ways you can do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I know we are getting a little bit closer to the end of our event. For a quick second, I'd like to switch gears if we could. We do have a current UC Merced student on the line with us here, and I believe he just opened up his camera. Welcome to Jose. He's going to offer us his personal inside kind of view and perspective from his experience at UC Merced within the School of Engineering. Jose, take it away.
Thank you so much. So once again, my name is Jose Galvin. I'm actually a fourth year engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer at UC Merced. And a little bit about myself is I'm involved in a bunch of organizations. I know there was a question asking if we had SAE. That's actually an organization I'm a part of, the Society of Automotive Engineers. And we actually get scraps and we build golf carts and remote control cars and everything like that. So that's something I like to do. To answer this question, what would make a prospective student successful from transitioning to high school and college? It's honestly just how much effort you put into it. So it really depends on what you do. So if you're gonna come in and just not plan on studying, not going to your classes, not paying attention, it wouldn't be that successful. So what I would recommend that I did myself is there were some classes where I was a little confused on during lectures. So then when I went to my discussion classroom, I got that personal one-on-one time with the TA, and I got to ask those questions that I was particularly stuck on. And that's what I felt made me excel within those classes. And that's why I believe I'm close to graduating. And I'm very proud because there's a lot of labs that we do that emphasize on engineering. So I've worked with wind tunnels, hydraulic presses, you can name it, 3D printers. So all the courses that we have for mechanical engineering are very useful and they're very broad. So you get to learn a bunch of different aspects of engineering. And I feel like now I'll be able to make my choice on what I want to do for my future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that experience. Would you like to go ahead and give us a little bit more insight of just what your experience has been like at UC Merced? Did you, for instance, live on campus, the dining facilities, anything that has stood out to you in your program or in any of your classes?
Yes, of course. So I actually came in and I decided to live on campus my freshman year and I enjoyed it. So then I came and I lived my second year as well and my third year. So I lived on campus for 3 years. And I would say I enjoyed this because most of the meetings are held at school. So I was able to maintain that social aspect where I'm able to get ready, but I don't have to take that much time and drive to school. I'm just there already on campus, ready to go to class, ready to go to my club. So everything was just right there. It's all just a walk instead of a long drive. But personally, I feel like the social aspect, there's honestly, it's how much you put into it. I know the dorms I lived in, I would walk out and I would see other students walking out and I'd be like, oh, are you heading to this class? Oh yeah, I am. And that's how I made those type of friends that I still talk to, and we actually made a club together. So I feel like that's most of my experience. It's all been great. I love the food. I love everything about UC Merced.
Amazing. I can say the same thing, although I haven't lived on campus, but the food is pretty great, and so is the campus. So another question for you, Jose, can you share with our audience what your plans are for after you graduate?
Of course. So currently, right now, I'm studying for the fundamentals exam. I know that's a certificate that I want to have as an engineer, and all the classes that I've taken have actually helped me. And I've recently applied to a bunch of internships. I have one interview lined up with E&J soon, one with Blue Almond. So right now I'm just trying to put myself out there, get that experience to later, uh, I guess, have more on my resume.
Wonderful. And you did mention some clubs. Can you repeat those? Which clubs were you interested in or did you partake in while you've been here?
So I'm in two currently. I'm in SAE, which stands for Society of Automotive Engineers. And what we do is we just get a bunch of scrap PVC pipes and we build our own little carts and remote control cars for anyone that's interested in the automotive industry. And another one I'm a part of is SHIP, which is the Society of Hispanic Engineers. And what they do is they just try to prep every engineer, doesn't matter the major. It just preps all engineers for the future. So career-wise, they go to a bunch of conferences where you'll get to interview with other companies, big companies, and they'll be able to decide like if they want to give you an internship, an interview, or anything like that. So it's just a bunch of helpful clubs. And then there's also one that I was planning on joining. It is a professional fraternity. It is called Theta Tau, and they do the same thing. They attend a bunch of conferences and get you prepped for the workforce.
Great. And can you also, just as a last question here, before I toss it back over to Dean Matsumoto, can you give our audience a little insight on what your experience was like when you first started at UC Merced, when you transitioned from your hometown and then you came here?
So locally, I was from Newport Beach. So I was very used to like very cool weather, living close to the beach, and UC Merced is totally different. I had to develop by just like not being able to go to the beach, but it wasn't really a big change because I was able to make those type of friends that got me into different stuff. I was able to do more hands-on experience with engineer work. But I feel like when I first came in, I was very unorganized, and all my college classes have actually helped me become more organized. I have binders for every class. I separate the homework and the midterms in different binders. So I'm just very more organized. I know where everything is, and I feel like that one step college has helped me with.
Sounds like you were very organized. That's amazing advice. Actually, and there's one more question I would like you to respond to, if you don't mind. There's someone that's asking, how bike friendly is our campus and what types of outdoor activities have you been able to enjoy in Merced?
So we do have bike racks. They're outside of every dorm. If you want to come, we are doing right now drive-through tours, and you might see me because I am a tour guide as well. And you can be able to see the campus and what we have. And for activities wise, I love playing soccer. So we have something called futsal. We have soccer courts, and we just recently added a pool, an Olympic-sized pool, and I'm out there swimming every day. You have to register and you have to do everything like COVID safe. And I'm out here swimming every day. There's soccer. There's a bunch of group chats where they post like, "Oh, I'm gonna go throw a frisbee around. If anyone wants to come at the field." We have basketball courts. So there's a bunch of stuff to do on campus.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jose, for joining us. I think that will wrap it up for the student portion tonight as we get closer to wrapping up this live event. At this time, I'd like to invite Dean Matsumoto back to come back on screen with us. We do have, looks like at least one final question. So Dean, the final question coming to you tonight, what would make a prospective incoming engineering student have a successful transition from high school to the university?
Couple things. One thing is that you should visit the campus if you can, to learn the lay of the land, so to speak. Talk to counselors and different things. If if there are bridge programs that can help transition based on math or computer science class, tests that you take, that would help as well. The other thing is examine yourself as you were as a high school student. So what were your study habits like? If you had good study habits, you just do the same and you'll do well. If you had poor study habits, you need to learn how to study. So that's one of the things. Get to know, come to, excuse me. The other things is that, so learning, your time management. Learn how to be disciplined in time management, as Jose was talking a little bit about it. It's good to have people that can keep you accountable to being on time and doing different things. It's easy to waste time when you're on your own.
Thank you so much for that, Dean. And actually, one last question. There is a question about what type of cultural diversity do we have within the School of Engineering?
Wow. As Jose alluded to, we have a Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. We have a lot of that. So we have the Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. We have the National Society of Black Engineers and those types of things. So we do have those ethnically based, I'll call it, cultural different things. Our students, the nice thing about being on a campus like ours, we have a lot of cultural diversity, and the Associated Students of UC Merced, ASUCM, there are a lot of different cultural clubs doing different things. I mean, if you identify with some cultural activity that you would like to be, I know we have a Filipino club that's really strong. We have a lot of different students in that. They even have their own separate kind of graduation ceremonies as well. So our students identify culturally to the groups that they gravitate to. And so we have a lot of diversity in that, and they like to keep their identity. But we also interact with each other a lot in different ways as well.
Thank you so much, Dean Matsumoto from the School of Engineering. This has been a wonderful evening event, part of our bigger series, which is called Become a Bobcat, a virtual series. Part of that program will include over 40 different virtual events, very similar to the one that you've joined us in tonight. We will be offering a couple of others coming up. Like I said, there's going to be a total of over 40 over the next couple of months. A few that I would like to promote for you this evening so that you can mark your calendar and go online and get registered. In fact, you should see a link to the Become a Bobcat website showing up in the chat box, so you can take a look there and get registered. As I said, a couple I would like to promote for you this evening. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., which would be March 17th, we do have a similar session to this one that will be focused on the School of Natural Sciences. So it will be an information session. Like I said, much like this one, giving you all the ins and outs of that particular school, and you will have an opportunity to ask questions live. The next day, Thursday, March 18th, also at 7 p.m., we will be offering another similar event. On that evening, it will be focused on the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, or as we lovingly refer to them in short as SHA. And like I said, it'll be another information session. You'll have an opportunity to speak to the experts and get those questions answered. Another one that is coming up, as I said, there is a total of 40, but I do want to highlight these three. One that will be next week, which is Thursday, March 25th, will be focused on understanding your financial aid award letter. So that will be very critical, and I'm sure very popular event to join us to be able to understand how to read that financial aid information. As I said, we have gone ahead and dropped that link for the Become a Bobcat virtual series website. That link should be in your chat now. And at this time, I would like to also mention quickly before we do our close that we do have a new feature that has just opened up. So for more information on this next one, if one of my colleagues can also put the drive-through tours link in that chat, I believe it did come across just a little bit ago as well. There is a website that will give you more information, but the drive-through tours have recently launched, and we couldn't possibly be more excited for this feature for you. Due to the fact that we are not able to see you in person, we have come up with this concept so that you will have an opportunity to actually take a look at our campus from the comfort of your car. So if you check out that website, you can get registered there. It will give you all of the instructions on checking in with the Welcome Center and how to go through the map with all the different tour stops with the QR code so that you can take a look and get all of that information there. As I said, from the comfort of your own car. So how amazing is that? We are doing everything we possibly can to allow you to explore and experience our beautiful campus and institution, even though we're not able to be there as we would prefer face-to-face with you. Once again, a big thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight. We had a great turnout, and to all of my colleagues who have both been on screen with us as well as behind the scenes answering the questions live for you. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill. A big thank you for coming to this Become a Bobcat event focused on the School of Engineering. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.